Amy, and hello everyone. Thanks for joining tonight's session for World Affairs Council of Houston's trip to Mexico City at the end of January. My name is Ilyas. I am not located in Mexico, as the picture behind me suggests, but I am in New Jersey. And I, with my company Tourcom, we organize and operate the tours for World Affairs Council of Houston for quite some time. So as Amy mentioned, the brochure of this trip has been emailed to you, so you can open the file and you can follow it up or just read it at your convenience. And at the same time, you can go on World Affairs Council's website on the travel pages. You can see not only this trip, but all the other trips of 2023. There's a very good lineup. So you can also have the opportunity to check them out on World Affairs Council of Houston's website travel section. Now, in a short while, I will share my screen with you, and I will start my presentation. It won't be very long. I will go over the itinerary, the main highlights, what we are going to do, and how the trip will proceed, and what we are going to cover. And at the end, if you have any questions, just please feel free to ask, and Amy and I will try to answer your questions. So I will just start sharing my screen with you. And I believe now you see the cover page of my presentation, which is at the same time the cover page of our brochure, if you check it out. So this is a trip to Mexico City from January 28th to February 3rd, 7 days and 6 nights. Well, just normally we arrange our trips quite in advance. If you check the World Affairs Council website, you will see that all the 2023 lineup is over there. But there were good opportunities for January for Mexico City. So, and this is a kind of an express trip, which is concentrated on Mexico City only. So, and January is also a good time to visit the city. So we thought that's a good opportunity to offer this at a really appealing cost to World Affairs Council of Houston members. And we brought together this 7 day, 6 nights itinerary. Of course, just concentrating on one city, there is a positive side to it, which is you don't have to, pack every morning to go to a different place. Just we will be staying in the same hotel, in the same location, and every morning you wake up. And another good part is out of 7 days, 2 days will be just at leisure. You can have your own, program. You can just visit any additional museums or locations that you would like to visit, or just spend your day, just on the streets and restaurants and, cafes of this lovely city. And there is really plenty there are plenty of things to do in this very nice, interesting city. Now, here we are. This is a map of Mexico, just our southern neighbor, and from, Texas, especially your state's southern neighbor over there. So it's not that far, and it's not ever, foreign to us. Mexico has always been, in the news for various reasons. Generally, unfortunately, it may not be some good reasons that's in the news, but Mexico, we know that is a culturally, historically very important and beautiful country, and it is a country that's worth to visit. And Mexico City, the capital, here to the south in the middle of the country's southern part, is really very interesting with its, again, history and with all the interesting sites that it has to offer. Mexico has a population of about 130 million people. Out of 130, about 9 to 10 million live in the capital, Mexico City. Mexico, the country, it's area is about 760,000 square miles.
Conferencia sobre Ciudad de México.
Excuse me, if you could just turn off your sound, please. Just it's, I believe, distracting for the presentation. So I was saying it covers an area of about 760,000 square miles, which is about 3 times Texas. And Mexico City, as I said, in the south, located to the south. And this is our flight path, more or less, from Houston. Just we'll talk about the flights at the end. We will fly to Mexico City. And at the end of the 7th day, we will fly back. So we arrived there. This is an aerial view of the city here. It has its, just modern center. It's a, modern city with high rises. It's the financial and economic capital of the center of the country. It is, as you see the mountains around, it is located in a valley surrounded by mountains. And actually to the southeastern side, it has 2 volcanoes. One is extinct and the other is still active. It's not that far, just El Popocatépetl that is located, and occasionally, it gives signals of erupting. This is one of the main, again, another aerial view, one of the main avenues, Paseo de la Reforma. So just the modern city, of course, is interesting as in itself. But of course, in addition to the modern side of it, there is the historic city. And just the hotel that we're going to stay in will be very close to the historic center, El Zocalo, the historic square. We see here just a picture, a photo of El Zocalo. So we fly from Houston to Mexico City, and we arrive there just at noon. We have lunch, a short, quick lunch. First, of course, we drive to the city, have a quick lunch, and then we continue with a sightseeing of this old center of the city, El Zocalo. Here is another view. And the old center, the old city center that was the center both for Aztecs and during the colonial times. And it was built on the ruins of one of the Aztec capitals, Tenochtitlan. And occasionally there are festivals, and there are street performers, just one of which we see here. So it's a lively environment, a lively location to be and to see. And the Metropolitan Cathedral, it is the largest church in America. Now, as the conquistadors, the Spaniards came in 1519, and they captured the place 1521 and declared this place as their, just taking it over from the Aztecs, declared their own new capital, Mexico City. And the cathedral, the building was from 1571. It just, on and off with additions and everything and renovations, continued until 1813. It was built over the ruins of the main Aztec temple. So Templo Mayor, actually, we will not only see the cathedral, but also the ruins of the ancient Aztec temple that the cathedral was built on. This is a picture, a painting of the cathedral from 1870s by the 19th century artist Ignacio Serrano, and it shows, just the square as it was in the middle of 19th century. Now, we'll go and we'll see Mexico City, just a big, lively city. Just this is a picture of its origin. It's really very surprising to see Mexico City, the origins, Tenochtitlan, as it was called by the Aztecs, and it was established at the beginning of 14th century, around 1325 or 27. This was built, now this Mexico Valley was actually a big system of lakes, and it was built on just islands, and there were just canal systems that connected a number of other similar cities and towns in this lake system. So what we see here is the beginning of Mexico City. And by the time the Spaniards, just took over in 1521 and started their own construction, destroying, the Aztec temples and Aztec structures, and of course, most of the Aztec population were also decimated by smallpox and other diseases that were brought from Europe. And this is here in 1628. Now, what happened, or what they tried to do, was to drain the lake by a system of canals to drain it out, so that they could, just connect all these little towns and neighborhoods, and they could have dry land to expand the city. So that today's Mexico City is built on this kind of a, reclaimed land from the existing lake during and before the Aztec times. So that's important to know, because the city is, just being built on this kind of silt. It still sinks every year at a considerable rate. So that's be our first day, just getting information about the historic center of the city. And our second day, we will start with visiting San Juan Market, one of the main markets of the city. It's a very lively place with all the fresh produce, which I'm sure we are also quite familiar with in our, markets, right? Just there's quite a lot of Mexican agricultural products that are imported from there. So we are quite familiar with that. But still, it's important and interesting to see quite a bunch of, tropical items and fruits and vegetables, and of course, just places to eat with the local food and fruit juices. So it's not only a market for, fresh produce, but also it has, small, restaurants offering freshly made Mexican food. So it is one of the best places to taste authentic, local Mexican dishes. That is one thing, as we see here. And also close by, there is the artisanal handicrafts market, Ciudadela. So we'll also have some time to visit that artisanal, handicrafts market and have lunch. And then after lunch, we will continue with the Museum of Anthropology. Now, this is one of the, architecturally, it is nice. It is maybe the most important, most interesting museum in the city. We'll see a few others, but still, this has, the finest examples of Aztec culture. This is one of the finest archaeological museums in the world that covers Aztec and pre-Columbian examples of art that we are going to see. And after the Museum of Anthropology, we will, again, another old center, historic center, Chapultepec Hill. This is the hill surrounded by park and the palace. Now, the city itself, I have to mention that it is, it's quite high. Its elevation is more than 7,000 feet, and this Chapultepec Hill is about 7,300, 7,400 feet above sea level. And the hill was a sacred place for Aztecs. And once the city was taken over by the conquistadors, by the Spaniards, it was not used for quite some time. And then this Chapultepec Castle that was built, well, quite some time later, actually, starting from 1785. It was used as a palace, as imperial residence, as a military academy, as a presidential residence in Mexico's history. And this is one of the only two royal palaces in North America which were inhabited by monarchs. As I mentioned, the construction started in 1785 for the Viceroyalty of New Spain, and then became a royal residence, and then used as a military academy. So it is today history of National Museum of History. So we are going to visit and get information about this part from the 18th century onward, the imperial history, the colonial history, and what the building was used for. It is really a very actually, I have photos here. This is kind of a panoramic photo. Once we go in, the murals depicting scenes from Mexican history, which we're going to learn about. And the halls, the dining hall, one of the main dining halls from the time that it was used as imperial residence. So we will visit this palace. Now, and then our third day, we have a leisure day. Just we can give you a number of various possible things to do in the city, so that you can, just either go on your own, or you can just improvise and see the city and experience the city on your own. On our fourth day, we will start with the Museum of Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera. Now, Diego Rivera to the left, Frida Kahlo to the right, two important Mexican artists, painter. Diego Rivera, a muralist. The beginning of 20th century, actually. Diego Rivera, he was born in 1886. And Frida Kahlo, she died in 1954 at the age of 47. And Diego Rivera, 30 years after her. And they are considered to be, of course, Mexico produced quite a number of important and nice, artists. And it's possible to, for example, visit the Museum of Fine Arts to see the examples of Mexican artists' works over there. But here we will visit their house. Here we see the actual, the photos, Frida on the right and Diego on the left. And they were married twice, actually, and to each other. Because Diego actually, he married, just Frida was his third wife. Just Frida Kahlo, she was born in Mexico City at the very location that we're going to visit, in that neighborhood, and she died there. And she is known for her works inspired by nature and Mexican artifacts in a folk style. Whereas Diego Rivera, he is a prominent painter and muralist, and his works even today can be seen in San Francisco, in Detroit, in New York City. In 1933, he was commissioned by the Rockefellers for murals at the Rockefeller Center, which didn't go well as they both were members of the Mexican Communist Party, and he depicted Lenin in one of the murals in the Rockefeller Center, which at the time did not go well, obviously, so they took it off, and they forced him to, just leave United States, which he did. So we learned about all this history. It's really, together with mingled with the history of United States at the times. So this is their house. And so we will visit the house and see a number of works by Frida Kahlo, especially. About Diego Rivera, there are a number of his works at different locations in Mexico City. So after visiting the house of Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo, now this is another really nice museum, this time by Diego Rivera himself. Rivera Anahuacayi Museum. Now, this was during, of course, being an artist interested in his own culture, he collected artifacts, pre-Columbian artifacts, Aztec artifacts, and all the artifacts that he collected. For those, he constructed this museum, and this is where we can see all those more than 2,000 pieces. It is architecturally very, very interesting, and the exhibits, the items that are exhibited in the museum from all pre-colonial period are really unique and difficult or impossible to find anywhere else around the world. So we will visit this Anawakayi museum. And from here, this is another view from the museum, the artifacts. From here, now, this is the neighborhood of Xochimilco. Now, remember just a few minutes ago at the beginning of the presentation, or just towards the beginning, I mentioned the lake system in the Mexico Valley, and how the origins of the Mexico City that was on artificial islands, and all the canals, and how the canals, by the canals, they drained the lake. So this is what remains of it. There's a canal system of about 110 miles, and the neighborhood Xochimilco, we will go there, and these trajinera, the boats, the traditional boats, we will have a short ride in the canals, and there are chinampas, the artificial islands. So this gives us an idea about the origins of Mexico City, and it's also just pleasure ride, boat ride, and to see another aspect of Mexico City. This is just quite in the middle of the city, and actually this is not the only place. Whatever left of that lake, that old lake from before 14th century, 15th century, that's also just in a few different locations around the city. So we will learn about all this canal system that connected the ancient settlement in the Valley of Mexico. This is one of the World Heritage Sites in Mexico, actually. So, again, yeah, the boats that just we will take in the canals. And the next day, we have an excursion to Teotihuacan. This is about a little bit more than an hour drive to the north of Mexico City, and about, well, less than maybe, just, it's about 30 miles. And this is really one of the must-see archaeological sites in Mexico, Teotihuacan. This was one of the biggest ancient cities and capital of the Aztec people. It is thought to have been founded in the 1st century AD, and it just reached its peak around 500 AD. So this is the main avenue, the main street of the city, and of course the pyramids, the massive pyramid of the sun and pyramid of the moon. So we go there with our guide and learn about Aztec history and visit this impressive site of Teotihuacan. And just nearby, that was time not from Aztec times, but from the Spanish, from the colonial times. The building itself is new. This is on the right-hand side is the old church. Of course, Spaniards, they came here and they brought Christianity, they brought Catholicism. So just we all know about the conversion, and how now the main dominant religion in Mexico, as in most of South America and Latin America, is Catholicism. So this is Basilica de Guadalupe, Latin America's most revered religious shrine, and it is believed that the Virgin of Guadalupe has appeared before an Indian, that is a native Mexican named Juan Diego in 1531. And an image of her was miraculously emblazoned on his cloak. So that was more than enough to make this place a place of pilgrimage for the Catholic population. So it is the most important Catholic pilgrimage site in Latin America. So we're going to also have some time to visit this place, and then return back to Mexico City. And in the evening, we have a program for the Folkloric Ballet of Mexico, with all the folklore. We will spend more than an hour, close to 2 hours actually, just enjoying the music and dances with this folkloric ballet of Mexico. And then we will have our farewell dinner the same night, although we have one more day, in a historic restaurant with Mexican dishes and what else? Again, another day at leisure where you can spend visiting a few of the other important museums or just visiting the city. So we will have an extra day, and then on our final day, February 3rd, we will fly back to Houston. So this is going to be our trip. Now let me stop sharing my screen with you. And here I am. So really Mexico City, just you wouldn't, Mexico, the South, close by. We all think we know, the country, and we know about its culture. Just United States has quite a number of Mexican people of Mexican heritage, they bring their culture here and everything. But of course, it's history on location. That's a different thing. And a different thing is going on, of course, not only with the Aztecs and pre-colonial times and the colonial time, but also with today's politics and today's society. It is extremely interesting to go and spend some time there. So I hope you join the trip. And since this is a World Affairs Council trip, if we have enough number of participants, then of course there may be a possibility of arranging one or two special meetings that would touch the current cultural, social, economic issues of the country. So that is another aspect of the trip, if we have enough number of participants. So this is it for the moment. About flights, there are direct flights from Houston on United Airlines. Now, checking the brochure, I noticed that there is a typo. Return flight was written as LH on Lufthansa, which is not correct. It's supposed to be United. So direct flight from Houston to Mexico City and back on United Airlines. If you have any questions, now is the time. Please do, and Amy and I will try to answer.
I have no questions right now, but I thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Marianne.
joining.
What hotel would we be staying in?
Yes. Now, the hotel. Now, since the time is very close, we have tentative reservations with the Zocalo Central. That is very close to the main square, Zocalo Square. And 1 second, please. Let me have that in front of me.
It's a beautiful hotel.
Zocalo, what was the second word?
Central.
Central. Okay.
Yeah.
And what is there? I didn't notice the cost of the trip. Did you mention that at first? I was a little bit late.
It's listed on the application that I sent over.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's listed on that.
It does not include the airfare, so airfare will be separate.
Okay.
And the hotel, yeah, the rooms are tentative at the moment. Just if we have reservations, if we have people signing up within the deadline, just we can hold the rooms. Otherwise, if the reservations are late and we lose the space, then we may have to change it to another hotel. But again, it will be in the same vicinity.
How much walking would you say we'll be doing each day?
Yes. Well, 2 to 3 miles, I should say. So it doesn't sound much. Now, from experience, and I'm sure, just most of the people have similar experience, those museum days and museum walks, they are the most tiring ones. Just walking in the city at a good pace, that is not that much tiring. But museum, it takes time, you stop and everything. So the museum days maybe a little bit more tiring.
And what will be our mode of transportation within the city?
That'll be private van or bus, depending on the size of the group,
Okay.
with a private guide, of course. On the free days, we'll be on our own. So just we can use either the public transportation, there's a good metro system, subway system, or just, take cabs.
And are you all with a particular tour agency here or there?
Well, the tour operator here in the United States is me and my company, Tourcom in New Jersey. And we work with local suppliers in Mexico City, in Mexico, or various other parts of Mexico, depending on the program.
Okay, you said Tourco, T-O-U-R?
Tourcom.
Okay.
Will we have a guide in Mexico City like we do on most of our trips?
Yes. Yes, of course. Yes. During the tour days, of course. And there are two, just leisure days. Those leisure days, we are on our own.
Yes. You have any more questions?
I can't think of any.
They're all very good questions, but walking one especially.
Yes, for sure. I guess most of the evenings, except for the ones that you mentioned, will be at our own leisure.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
We have two dinners. During the tour days, the lunches are included. They are indicated on the program. Now I'm also checking our arrival day. We have one dinner and we have one farewell dinner. So we have two dinners included. And on the tour days, lunches are included, and breakfast, of course, included every day. But for dinners, yeah, at our leisure.
And I guess Mexico City is pretty safe for tourists, right?
It is, as every big city, just there are locations. So it's a matter of knowing where to go, where not to go. So just using common sense, just you can stay away from those places, and we'll be, in the center of the city, which is, quite safe.
And it's always good to ask your tour guide if there's something that you want to do on the leisure days. Just ask if the area.
Of course, just
is safe.
we will give some advice, some guidelines about what are possible things to do.
I'm one of those travelers that'll find the most obscure thing to do that no one else hardly ever does. And so I always have to ask, is it safe to go there by myself? Because I travel solo a lot. So yeah, but there's all there, we will have a tour guide with us that will be able to help any of the travelers with plans for their for the leisure days. And you can always email and ask Ilias and I as well.
And what time just would you say we start each day and conclude each day, just in general?
Yeah, in general, around 9 o'clock in the morning, and by 4 p.m.
Okay.
I would say. The day that we have the excursion, we come back. Yeah, the Teotihuacan. We come back late in the afternoon, and then we go to the ballet, which the folkloric ballet, which starts at 7 p.m. About 2 hours. But now, so we'll have a late farewell dinner that day.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. I think that answers most of my questions. Thank you.
Sure.
Very nice.
Great, thank you. And always feel free to email me or Ilias directly if you have any other questions. We're happy to help.
And what is your name?
My name is Amy Blackwell. I'm the one that sent the email with the link today. And I'm
Okay.
the travel and development coordinator.
And what, say your last name again?
Blackwell.
Blackwell. Okay, you cut out there. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you.
Good evening. Good night,
All right.
Ellie.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.